Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Summit, People Pleaser to Powerhouse. Thank you so much for taking your time to be here today. Hello, Stephanie.
Hi, Deb. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
So happy to have you. Stephanie, how I know Stephanie is such a very cool story, actually. I went to a women's networking called a Polka Dot Powerhouse, and I sat down and she's like, hold on right here. Here's my slip. We have a little slip we can give to one another. And she said, I want to meet with you. I want to get to know you, type of thing. And she was so sweet, and then we had a beautiful talk on the phone. And then since then, fast forward, I've hired Stephanie for a whole 1 year. I always call her my soul coach.
Mm,
And, she does horse healing and all kinds of things. I'm sure you're going to hear about it as we move forward, but I'm very excited about our interview with Stephanie today. Thank you,
so
Steph.
excited to be here, Deb. It's such an
Yes.
honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep. Well, I'm going to formally introduce Stephanie Schoolmeester, a soul igniter dedicated to empowering soulful women to rediscover their power, purpose, and unlimited possibilities. As a soul alignment specialist, she guides heart centered entrepreneurs in infusing more heart and soul into their lives and businesses, fostering positive impact and connection. Stephanie shares powerful energetic practices to help women tap into their deepest desires and passions, enabling them to create a life and business aligned with their soul's essence. Her focus is on nurturing women to lead from the heart, creating flourishing soul led businesses. Stephanie is a certified teacher, Somato, is that how I say it? Somato?
hmm
Somato Respiratory Integration, SRI. She's taught me all that type of stuff too. She's a facilitator for SRI, motivational speaker, equine energy facilitator. Now, am I saying equine right?
Correct. You're doing
Okay.
great.
And bars access facilitator. Love the bars. And sound bowl healer, dedicated to aiding women in their journey to rise and be fully alive.
Mm.
Stephanie was recognized as the Extraordinary Speaker of the Year and featured as one of Denver's 7 everyday heroes for her work in social and emotional learning. Mm, that's
Oh,
my Stephanie Schoolmeester.
thank you, Deb.
Yes, absolutely. So, Steph, let's start out with what has been your journey in learning the concept of heart over hustle?
Yeah, I love that question, Deb, because as you know, but the people have not know this about me is I was a workaholic and I really look at how many women are working that way and hustling and working for their worth and all of those things. And that was me. And that's the only way I knew how to achieve. And I also was really stuck on this working for my worth and feeling like if I wasn't accomplishing, if I wasn't doing all these amazing things, then it really affected my worth. And so that's how I ran my whole entire life. I was a teacher for most of my life, 22 years in the school system. And what other thing really happened in that, Deb, is I didn't even realize this, but I was running masculine energy. And I have been teaching and facilitating energy work now for 20 years. And when I started to really pay attention of the difference between masculine and feminine energy, I started to realize, oh my goodness, I am running masculine energy. And this is so important for us as females and female entrepreneurs in particular, because if we run masculine energy and the push, 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 we end up burning ourselves out. We end up, and I know we're going to be talking more about this, people pleasing, and everything becomes about everyone else. And it doesn't have to do with us anymore, taking care of ourselves, taking care of our mission, our vision. And so that has been my journey. And the journey really came down to a Deb where I was just completely burnt out. I had nothing left. I'll never forget. I had this teacher say to me at one point in my career, she said, Steph, I don't know how you do it. Cause I was like the 80-hour a week teacher. I just was, in the parking lot till all hours of the night. And I was like, I will never get burned out. Well, I did because I kept that push energy, that masculine energy. So that has been my journey. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing today is to help reverse that and help women actually be in their flow and use their energy in the way that we were designed to do it. Because when we do it that way, guess what? We're lit up, we're alive, and everything just feels like it's just flowing. And it's a completely different way of living. It's a completely different way of doing business. And honestly, I get choked up even saying it because I can't imagine life any different, but I lived it for so long, the opposite way. So there's open up to the flow, and it's definitely where you will flourish.
Oh my gosh, Stephanie, all my little hairs are all raised. And yes, I mean, and Stephanie knew that when we got together and we were working with me, I have so much masculine energy and I didn't know it. I didn't know either until Stephanie told me. And I'll tell you folks, you would not know that that's something that Stephanie dealt with in the past because with all of the practice and tools and all of the journey that Stephanie's been on, she knows how, and she helps others how to work in the flow.
Hmm.
So it's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So, and why do you feel it's important for women to run their business through feminine energy?
Love this question. You know, one of the things I mentioned is number one, energy is everything. If you literally have to take that concept and, you know, Einstein said that it is a true fact. Everything is energy. And when you can match your energy to the dream that is in your heart, you become an unstoppable force. But if you are running your energy in the way that you were not designed to run your energy, like I was sharing, masculine energy, if we're females, we do not function that way. We are not the, I don't know why I have to do this, Deb, but every time we're like, we are not the doers. We are the beers. We need, women are, we are in that beingness instead of the doingness. And I like to look at this analogy of a river. So when you look at a river and you see this beautiful current going direction, and it's just going, you know, sometimes there's rocks and there's obstacles, but it just knows how to move around it and kind of dance around it. That's feminine energy. So when you get in the river and you're using your feminine energy, you get your intuition, you know where, you know, you can let yourself be guided by source, by all of the things that are working for your favor, and you get to listen and you get to be and you get to follow that flow where you have more energy, you are more alive, you have more fun. I love the F words. You flourish, you flow, you know, it's fun. It's fun. I literally think about when I jump in or when I go, you've been, I think you've been down the river with me. I literally go down the river because it reminds me of this is what I'm doing in life, and the river of life, the river that we need to be in is that feminine flow. But if we do it the opposite way and we go and we do that masculine energy, it's literally going to be like you're going against the current of life, your mission, your soul's purpose, and you're doing all the things, and all the things that are in your head. I laughed because I just remember all these moments with you, like, right, you get these best practices, you learn, and I you know, I'm a teacher. I love to learn. I love best practices. But if you're doing it from the headspace, you are constantly spinning. You are spinning, 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 spinning. When you're doing it in your feminine flow, coming here from the soul, you literally design your life and your business around your soul. That's why I say that. When it comes to the soul, you get to that current where it flows. It's easy. You know, when I look at my life and how I mean, it's like everything just comes. It's just easy. Yes, do I still work? Absolutely. But it doesn't even feel like work because I'm in my energy that is filling me up. So it's, again, this is really important in that question, Deb. We are not operating from either even an empty cup. I used to go from like empty, empty, empty cup, like reserve tank over here, right? To not even a half full cup, a full cup. We work in an overflow cup. When we serve in this way, when women are using their energy in this way, you are literally flowing in your overflow, which means you know how to give to yourself and you know how to give to others. And guess what happens as a result? I call it the boomerang effect. You give yourself, you give out, and it comes back to you. And it's just, again, this beautiful flow. And I listen to myself talk, and it's funny, Deb, because I know you didn't know me before. Like, I didn't even know what these words meant. So if you're listening to me and you're like, Steph, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I just want you to hear right now. I get it. I didn't either. But if you're listening right now and you're like, oh, that sounds good to have more flow, more ease, more joy, more grace, more love, more life. This is what I'm talking about. There's a flow that you just probably haven't tapped in yet. But the great news is it's your innate like birthright. It's who you are. It's what you were born with. We just need to get you back in the flow of life instead of operating from that masculine energy that we were born into that just doesn't serve us. Our adrenals get fatigued, Deb, when we do that. I was talking to a holistic doctor that was actually at my farm doing one of my workshops, and I said, a lot of women have adrenal fatigue. And she looked at me and she said, Stephanie, all women have adrenal fatigue because we've been running our energy in this masculine way. So I just want to encourage us all to really tap into that feminine energetics that we are born with, that is here to help us flow in life and business.
Yeah, I love that. That's the thing is when we just imagine like we're just going against the river and how hard it is, and you're not getting anywhere and you're trying so hard and you're losing all your energy. And instead, imagine us just flowing down the river.
Yep.
That is a beautiful analogy. I remember when you came up with that analogy, when we were, you're like, oh my gosh, I had this drop down. That's the thing. And just think, everybody, if it can be done, which it can be, and that's what Stephanie teaches people, then we get to start grasping our feminine energy. We don't even have to grasp, we just get to step into it. It's right
Mhm.
there for our taking.
Already
I
did.
thank you so much.
Hmm.
So, all right, to go into people pleasing a little bit, how has pleasing people affected your personal and business life?
Great question. The first thing I want to mention, because it was still kind of going what we were just talking about, one, that is a complete energy suck. It's a complete energy drain. Everything I look at in life is through the lens of energy. And so, if we are again using our masculine energy, if we are out there working on people pleasing, what does this person think? What if, and I look at businesses, and I know you've been through this, I've been through this. It's like, well, this person says I need to do it this way. This person needs to say it this way. You start listening to everybody else. You start worrying about what everybody else is going to think. And guess what happens? Again, we're back in that, I call it a spin cycle. It's a spin cycle. And so and I laugh, Deb, because I always say I could have been the captain of the people pleasing club. I could have been the captain of the perfectionism club. But you know what? All of those things do, they take you away from who you are at the core. And this is science. The number one highest vibration of all is authenticity. So when you're in your authentic nature, you have to, it's like literally, it's part of the rule. You have to get rid of the people pleasing. You have to get rid of the perfectionism. So that is key, but it hasn't been easy for me, to be honest with you. It has not, like, it is literally like when I said at the very beginning, it has drained my energy. It has made me look at what other people are doing, do what they're doing. And that is never, ever, ever going to be, like, I call myself a soul igniter. That will never ignite your soul, because it will always make you feel dim. It will always make you feel less than. And when you are in your aligned place and you are literally coming from that and being your authentic true self, that's where it's at. So people pleasing is one of those things that we just have to just know that it's part of the game, and we just have to, I always say, I like to do an emotion, like brush it off, but it is something. And I will be honest with you, it is still something today. I don't say struggle, I say I dance with it. I dance with that every single day. I have to bring myself back to alignment, Stephanie, what's important. Same thing with my clients, and come from that lens, because we'll always be pulled from the people pleasing aspect if we don't.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, is that those of us who have struggled with people pleasing, we've talked about it in some of these other interviews. Sometimes it has come from trauma. It's definitely come from us finding ways to protect ourselves and feel safe, to feel like we belong in our families, to diffuse family arguments, to get noticed. There's all these different reasons why we've done it. And we got really good at it because we
Mhm.
had to.
Mhm.
And now as we get older, as we're older, it's working against us. And it can be done. It can be done where it gets lesser and lesser, right, Stephanie? That people pleasing tendency, we start to notice that we're doing it. Uh-oh, oops, I did it again. You're right. And it's
Yes.
like, then we get to pull ourselves back in, and it's okay. We get to have compassion with ourselves and not judge ourselves.
It's so true. And Deb, it's just that dance. I always use the word alignment because that's what I live by. And that's this is where that's the most power when we're there in our soul. But it's just you get off track, you get out of alignment, you come back. You just bring yourself back. I love that you said compassion. We must be compassionate with ourselves because it's something I think that is innately in us that we need to just again just bring our self back home to our own authenticity.
Absolutely. Yeah, we I mean, really, there are some people who say they are inspired by beating themselves up, which I don't get. I don't get, and maybe some people are, but most of us are inspired with attaboys. And
Yeah.
compassion is a way of giving ourselves an attaboy. And it's like, it's okay, it's gonna be okay. Absolutely. Thank you so much. So let's go. How do you overcome people pleasing so you can create the life and the business you really desire?
Well, I think I mentioned that in my answer before, but it's really overcoming it is, well, one is like you have to be aware. For me, I have to be aware. That is one of my things that my triggers that I can fall back into. And when I'm falling back in there, when I get awareness and I'm starting to people please or starting to compare all the things, I'm like, and I really pay attention to what I'm thinking. If I'm having those low vibe thoughts and I'm worried about what everyone else is thinking, that is my number one cue going, okay, Steph, we need to pause. I call it the power of the pause. I pause, I get still, I come into my heart, I put my hands on my heart, I take a couple deep breaths, I remember who I am. And even with that, Deb, so remembering who you are, but it's also remembering what your mission is. And when you get so clear on your mission and your vision and what you are here to do, you know that that is the energy that needs to be coming forth. And so that's where I just need to get still. I need to get still. I need to get back in alignment. And then I'm able to move forward and do what I'm here to do. It's a constant, and every time it happens too, it's like every time anything pulls me out, I'm like, oh, this is an opportunity for me to practice. It's a great opportunity. Before I would have been like, oh, and the more I've elevated and grown, I'm like, oh, wow, this is a great opportunity for me to really hone in on my skills because everything that I teach, it's all about embodiment. If I am not living and breathing what I teach, then it's like that is like everything to me. So it's like I get to practice that and I get to do what I teach my clients. Come back, come back, come back.
I love
Remember who
that.
you are.
So good. So, yes, what Stephanie is saying is first, we got to be aware, right?
Mhm.
Pay attention, notice your thoughts. What are we thinking? And I
Mhm.
love the word when you said your number one cue, that when you're thinking these thoughts, you start to realize what thoughts you think, like, especially when we go into comparison or perfectionism, things like that. We start to notice what are we asking? Oftentimes we ask ourselves pretty questions.
Mhm.
They're not empowering questions. So you're going to get a yucky answer, right? And then after you get that cue, then you have the pause.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I know I speed up trying so hard to get out of that yucky feeling and want these thoughts to go away and I want to feel better, but we get to pause. And
Mhm.
then we get to look at it as this is an opportunity to practice. It's
Absolutely.
practice, redirection, learning. It's wonderful. It's just practice. We're all practicing.
We are. And one other thing, Deb, I think is important, and I have heard this was, gosh, 7 years ago, someone was speaking about this on stage and she called it the itty bitty shitty committee. So I don't know originally where that came from, but that's kind of those thoughts. It's like those thoughts, those comparison thoughts. But I did coin this one where I'm like, okay, we've got the itty bitty shitty committee. What if we can bring in the inner love committee and we can put those? I usually have them on my desk. That's why I'm looking for them. I don't see them right here. But what if we imagine me having these love glasses on and we look at that situation or anything that's coming in, that comparison, that people pleasing, and put on the inner love committee and get to look at ourselves from the eyes of love and see that compassion. And the one other thing that's just is coming through, I think is really important to say, Deb, is that This is where we have to give that part of ourself back what we're searching for. So what is it that you're searching for? One of my biggest concepts that I teach is give back what you lack, but give it back to yourself. What is it that you are out there grasping or worried about what other people are thinking and all the things? What does this inner me need? And so that's where that inner love committee is so important. And as you do that, it's like you just keep growing and growing and growing in this beautiful love. That's how we grow ourselves, in love. And then you get to that goal and you're like, oh my gosh, I just love myself through the whole journey.
Yeah.
It's really
Mm.
so important. Like you said about people like beating themselves up, like, no, it's all, like, think about what again, I talk about highest vibration. Love is such a high vibration. Let's go in with love and let's heal ourselves and with love. And that's going to help you grow in the most beautiful way. It's going to be a journey, and it's going to be so much fun on your journey if you do that.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And that's the thing, you're right about the itty bitty shitty committee. We could call them saboteurs and things. And I've named them mini me's
Mm,
because they're parts of us. They're
yes.
parts of us. And yes, it gives us some crappy thoughts sometimes, right? Because but those little parts of us that were broken off at certain times in our lives where they had to show up, the people pleasing part, or the part that is a hyperachiever, or the
Mhm.
hyper vigilant, trying to always make sure that nothing happens. Those are little parts of ourselves. So they're not trying to hurt us. They're our best friend trying to help us. And
Yes.
that's our, they need our love. Those parts of ourselves need our love. Like you said, give back the love to ourselves.
Yeah,
Absolutely. That's
true.
so good. And what results do you see with yourself and your clients when they use soul aligned practices in their life and business?
I mean, just you even saying that, my whole soul is
I
like, just they
know.
feel, we feel, I feel, they feel lit up, alive, on fire. They're they just have so much more energy for themselves. They're learning that I can take care of myself and run this really successful business at the same time. And they're not two different entities. They're running, again, river. We're going the same direction. And when you're feeding yourself, when you're fueling yourself from the soul level, you are fueling every part of your life. So it's like, it's igniting that fire inside of yourself. So you're just running this energy that feels so good. The one thing I hear from my clients most often, Deb, is that I've never felt more fulfilled in my life. I have women that come to me that they're like, I'm missing something, Steph. I don't know what it is. And I don't know why my business isn't working. And when we start working together and we start to really look at that mission and that and helping them run their energy through their soul, and it's like, I can't tell you how many times this happens. You're like, I just started doing this, and all of a sudden I have these clients. I'm not doing all this work stuff. Like, they're coming to me with like ease. And like, I'll tell you the quick story. I had a client, she just told me the story, so it's fresh on my mind. She came to work with me for the year, and she was really struggling. She didn't tell me this part. She was thinking about letting her business go because she loved it, but it wasn't flowing anymore. It wasn't bringing in the income. And she started doing this work with me. And she said, Steph, she said, not only, it's gonna make me cry. She's like, not only is like my business, I'm like fire right now. She's got so many clients. She's like, they're all coming in from referrals. That's, as we know, it's the best way, right? Everyone's saying, and they need to work with me. And she said, I had the best income month I've ever had in my life. So the two things I hear, I've never felt more fulfilled and I've never made more money. And it's not, and this is what I love, Deb. It's like, I'm here to help women be successful in business, but not in the way of like, it's again, that hustle culture. It's the heart culture. And when you do it that way, this is the two things I always say that I've coined in this work. It's impact equals income, but it's fueling yourself first. When I hit my first like 6-figure year and then it kept going up and up from there, guess what my number one rule was? When I take care of myself, I make more income. No, I did it backwards. When I take care of myself, I make more impact and I make more income. Every day, 8 to 10, I fuel myself with energetics, working on myself so I can give back. And that's where the money just started to flow in. The clients just started to flow in. It was easy. I didn't even know that I hit that that big goal I had until I was like, my accountant shared something with me when we were talking. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that. So because it was easy, I was in the flow. It's expansive energy. It's not constrictive energy. So you have so much more to give. The last thing I will say in this is it's a world, like this is something I hear often. I didn't even know this world existed. And that's the part that, like, whew, I didn't either. I didn't either. And I know now. So I have this mission to teach other women to say, there's so much more out there. Like, I know I'm not living in my infinite possibilities yet. I know I'm moving to that every single day, but I know there's even so much more. We are so, once we tap into that energy field of abundance and what is possible, it's infinite of what you can create. And women are meant to create and to share. So that is my jam, is to help them
Mm.
get aligned, help them create, and help them get their mission out there in the world. And it is a beautiful thing to see, because when women are lit up, guess what? The world becomes a lot more of a brighter place, because we need women to be lit up and on fire and sharing their mission in the world. And I'm so honored to be able to be on this journey and
Mm.
help women do this.
I love that women are meant to create and to share.
Yeah.
Oh, feels so good. Thank you. Thank you. I know we're running to the end of our interview, which I'm really bummed because this has been so much fun. Is there anything else that you just like when you get off of this thing, you're like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have said this. Is there anything that comes to mind that you just would really famous last words, whatever?
There's the one thing that I think is the most important is to have a practice that helps you get still. And now this is, and Deb, you know this about me. I mean, I am literally ADD. I'm the girl that's like, gotta move. So I might not be sitting and meditating, being still, but my still practice is a movement practice, usually out on trail. So it doesn't have to be like you're still, still, still. What I'm saying here is have a practice that brings you back home. Brings you back home to your soul, that makes you feel grounded, supported, and reminds you who you are. And when you get there, stay in that place and listen. Whatever you're tapped into, source. I've heard this coined before as Gus, God, universe, source. Gus, whatever your connection is, connect to something outside of yourself and feel that the guidance, and listen to the guidance. Because one thing I will say that I will bet every single ounce of energy, money, everything on, the soul knows. The soul
Mm.
always knows. So when you get tied up here, come here and ask the soul, because I've never myself and witness any woman that has worked with me in this soul work move and make a move where it doesn't work. When it's from the soul, it does work. You just need to get quiet, still, grounded to listen.
Oh my goodness, everybody, the soul always knows.
Yes.
Mm, let that drop in. So good. So, with that, would you please tell us about your free gift that you're offering our listeners? Maximize Your Impact Toolkit.
Yes. So maximize your impact, ignite your soul. So I have been working on this for years. This is going to take you through my number one practice you're going to get with this. I'll just share this piece. It's called the nervous system regulation practice. When you get grounded, like I was just sharing about, you ground yourself, you can reach for the stars. So this is going to be, that practice is going to be in there, along with all of my so many other practices that are going to help you be able to know how to follow these whispers, your soul, so you can actually take these. It's soulful success that you're going to make move and be successful, but coming from your soul. So please download that and reach out. Let me know how it's impacting you. Let me know how this is landing. I'd love to hear from you. This I call myself a mermaid. I love to dive deep into these soul conversations. So thank you, Deb, for having me. And you know I love you dearly. And it's just been such an honor to know you and to get to work with your beautiful soul on this journey. I've seen you come so far, and it makes my soul so happy.
Me too, when I'm just beginning, right? I'm just growing up. So, growing up into the soul and the flow. Thank
Yes.
you so much, Stephanie. This has been such an honor to have you here for all of us. And everybody, don't forget her free gift. That's going to be fabulous. Don't forget to click on it. And please remember, everybody, go with the soul flow. The soul flow. I almost wanted to break into a song on that one. And that's all right. Thank you so much. And so, everybody, enjoy our next speaker in line to help you move from pleaser to powerhouse.